This did not arrive by accident. Something in you has been reaching. You may not have noticed it, you may not have had words for it, but somewhere underneath the tiredness, underneath the days that all looked the same, a quiet part of you was looking for a hand. And this reached back. I want you to settle wherever you are. You do not have to sit a certain way. You do not have to do anything special. Just let your shoulders come down. Let the muscles in your jaw loosen. Take a slow breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. There. That is enough. That is the only thing being asked of you right now. You are not here by chance. You did not stumble into this by accident. There are 1,000 places your attention could have gone tonight. 1,000 voices that could have filled this hour. And yet here you are, with me, in this quiet pocket of time. That is not nothing. That is something. Listen carefully. The hardest part of healing is not the beginning. It is not the falling apart. It is not even the deepest grief. The hardest part is the long middle. The part where the first wave of hope has worn thin. The part where you have already done so much, given so much, prayed so many prayers, and still the change you can see is small. The part where you wonder quietly if any of it is working, if any of it ever will. That is where this found you, and that is not by mistake. I want you to know something before we go any further. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not the only one who feels this way. There is a whole quiet army of people in this very moment, sitting somewhere in the half-light, asking the same question you are asking. Whether to keep going, whether they have it in them, whether the path will ever break open. You are not alone in that question. You never were. The reason this hour is different is simple. Tonight, instead of carrying that question by yourself, we are going to carry it together, slowly, gently, with no pressure on you to feel anything in particular. You do not have to be inspired. You do not have to be moved. You do not have to feel a great wave of healing wash over you. You only have to stay. That is all. Just stay. Some who walk this path have been at it for years, decades even. They started healing something that began long before they could speak its name, and now they are tired in a way that ordinary rest does not reach. If that is you, I want you to lay your head down for just a moment, even in your imagination, and let yourself be tired. You have earned that tired. There is no shame in it. Some are newer to this road. The wound is still raw. The grief is still bright. The mornings still hurt the moment your eyes open. If that is you, I want you to know that the rawness is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something has been honest enough to be felt. That kind of honesty is sacred. It is also brutal. Both can be true, and some of you have been doing the work so steadily, so quietly, that no one in your life has any idea how heavy your inner days have been. You smile at the grocery store. You answer the phone like everything is fine. You finish what needs finishing. And then, when the door closes behind you, the weight settles back onto your chest. If that is you, sweet one, please hear me. I see you. The part of you that no one in your daily life sees, I see that part. And it is breathtakingly brave. There is a particular kind of courage that goes unnoticed in this world, and it is the courage of the person who keeps going when nobody is watching. Anyone can be brave for an audience. Anyone can hold themselves together when the moment requires it. The deeper kind of bravery is the kind that nobody sees. It is the bravery of getting out of bed on a morning when staying in bed would be easier. It is the bravery of choosing a small kindness for yourself when no one would know whether you did or not. It is the bravery of not numbing what you used to numb, not running from what you used to run from, not pretending what you used to pretend. That kind of bravery does not get applause. It does not get celebrated. But it is the kind that builds an actual life. The performative kind builds an image. The quiet kind builds a soul. You have been building a soul. That is what is happening here. That is what you have been doing in all the unseen hours. There is something I want you to consider tonight. Just consider it. You do not have to believe it yet. Sometimes a message reaches a person at exactly the moment they were going to stop. Sometimes the timing of a thing is the meaning of it. And sometimes, when life feels random, when nothing feels held, a small kindness arrives precisely on the day you most needed it, and you cannot quite explain why. I do not think it is random. I think the reaching part of you was louder than you realized. And I think this is the answer to that reaching. Notice, if you can, what is happening in your body as you sit here. Not to fix it, not to change it, just to notice. Maybe there is tightness somewhere, a band across the shoulders, a knot in the belly, a small held breath in the chest. Maybe there is heaviness, eyelids that want to fall, a head that wants to rest. Maybe there is nothing at all, just a strange numbness that has been there for so long you stopped naming it. Whatever is true, that is what we are working with tonight. There is no wrong starting point. Healing does not require you to feel a particular way before it can begin. Healing meets you exactly where you are, in the body you have, on the day you are having. The starting line moves to wherever you happen to be standing. That is the kind of love this is. So whatever you came in here carrying, whatever weight has been pressing on your chest today, let it be here with us. You do not have to set it down. You do not have to fix it. You only have to let it sit beside you while we talk. It can rest too. The weight is allowed to rest. You are allowed to stop carrying it for the next little while. The promise of this hour is small and honest. I am not going to tell you that everything will be solved by morning. I am not going to tell you that one decision will end the long ache. What I am going to tell you is something simpler and truer. You are nearer to something than you think. You are not where you were, and the hardest part you are in right now is not the end of the story. It is the part right before the page turns. I want to spend a moment naming what you have already done, because nobody else in your life is going to name it. You showed up to this hour. That is one act of bravery. You did not turn away when something in your chest tightened in the first 30 seconds. That is another. You let me speak directly to the part of you that has been hurting, and you did not flinch. That is another. You are still here, several minutes in, breathing slowly, allowing yourself to be addressed by tenderness when so much in you has probably been trained to flinch from tenderness. That is the bravest thing of all. There is something in you that recognizes love when it arrives, even when it has been a long time since you allowed yourself to receive any. That something is alive. That something is the truest part of you. We are speaking to it tonight. We are letting it get fed. Keep your breath slow. Let your hands soften, even just a little. Notice the air on your skin. Notice the small sound of your own breathing. That is the most reliable thing in your life. It has been with you since your first second on this earth. It will keep coming all on its own, whether you remember it or not. You can lean on it now. Let it carry the rhythm for a while. There is one more thing I want to put into your hands before we go further. Many people who have been walking the long road of their own healing reach a point where they begin to suspect that something is wrong with them for still being on the road. They watch others around them seem to recover faster, move on cleaner, get over things that to them are still tender. They start to wonder if there is some flaw in their own design that makes them slower, heavier, more wounded than the people they see. If you have ever felt this, please hear me. There is nothing wrong with the timing of your healing. Healing is not a race. It is not a competition. It is not a set of milestones the world hands out. It is a private, sacred unfolding that happens at the exact pace your particular soul can bear. If yours is slower, it is because what you are healing is deeper. Deeper things take longer. That is not a flaw. That is a fact about depth. I want you to feel the shape of what is being said to you tonight. There is a difference between a message that tries to fix you and a message that is willing to sit with you. Most of what passes for help in this world is the first kind. It tries to lift you out of where you are. It tries to talk you into feeling better quickly. It cannot tolerate your slowness, your sadness, your stuckness, so it pushes. And the pushing makes the wound feel worse because the wound was never asking to be pushed. The wound was asking to be witnessed. That is what we are doing here. We are witnessing, not fixing, not pushing, not rushing, just witnessing what is true for you in this hour with no agenda about what should happen next. Your breath is still with you. Notice it again. Notice how it has not left you, even while we have been talking. That is a small miracle, and it is happening every single second of your life. Your body knows how to keep you here. Your body has been keeping you here through everything. through the seasons that almost broke you, through the nights you thought you could not bear. Your body kept breathing, kept beating, kept holding you up while you got through. That body deserves a thank you tonight, just a quiet one, just an inward one. Thank you for keeping me here. You can say it without sound. The body will hear it. Stay with me. There is more. And what is coming next is for the part of you that has been wondering whether to keep going at all. There is a part of healing nobody warns you about. The beginning has its own kind of fire. There is shock, there is decision, there is the rush of finally facing what you have been avoiding. The end has its own kind of light. There is relief, there is recognition, there is the sweetness of being able to look back and see how far you have come. But the middle, the long, slow, unglamorous middle, that is the part that takes the most from people. And that is the part where most people quietly stop. I want to tell you why, because if you can see what is happening, it loses some of its power over you. In the middle, the early adrenaline is gone. The first wave of motivation has faded. The breakthroughs have become smaller, harder to spot. You are no longer dramatically falling apart, but you are not yet dramatically transformed either. You are simply doing the work day after day with very little applause and very little visible change. And the human heart, which is built for stories, gets confused in the middle. It expects a clear arc. It expects a noticeable climb. When the climb goes flat for too long, the heart begins to whisper something dangerous. It whispers, maybe nothing is happening at all. That whisper is a liar. But it is a very convincing liar, because the middle does not look like progress. The middle looks like the same Tuesday you had last week. The middle looks like another therapy session, another journal entry, another quiet cry, another night of trying to do the thing you have been trying to do for months. From the outside, and even from the inside, it can look like nothing. So the heart, exhausted and disappointed, begins to consider giving up. Not in a dramatic way, just in a tired way, just by gradually stopping to try. Hear me carefully. What feels like nothing is almost never nothing. What feels like flat ground is often the longest part of the climb, where the slope is so gentle you cannot tell you are still rising. The middle is built that way on purpose, because the changes happening in you in this season are not the kind that show. They are the kind that settle. They are the kind that take root underneath everything visible. Think of the bread rising in a warm kitchen. There is a moment after the dough has been kneaded and shaped when nothing seems to be happening at all. The dough sits under its cloth. The kitchen is quiet. An hour passes, 2 hours. To the impatient eye, the dough looks the same, but underneath that cloth, something is rising, slowly, faithfully, in a way that cannot be hurried, cannot be willed, cannot be performed. If the baker lifted the cloth too soon, if the baker pulled the dough out of its quiet rising and put it straight into the oven, there would be no loaf. only a flat disappointment. The waiting was not nothing. The waiting was the loaf. You are in your rising. I know it does not feel like it. I know it feels like the cloth has been over you for too long and nothing is showing. But the rising is not visible. It is never visible. That is the whole nature of rising. You will not see the change in real time. You will see it only when you turn around much later and notice you are no longer the one who walked in. Most people quit in the middle because they cannot tell the difference between stuck and forming. The two feel almost identical from the inside. Stuck has no movement. Forming has invisible movement. They wear the same coat. They sit on the same bench. They speak in the same low voice. The only way to tell them apart is by what comes after them. And you cannot see what comes after them while you are still inside them. So the only way through is to keep going while not being able to tell which one you are in. Let me put it another way, because this is the part most people get wrong. You will not have proof that you are forming until after you are formed. The proof is always after. The proof is never available in the middle of the work. That is what makes the middle so hard. You are being asked to keep going on faith that something is happening when every visible sign suggests nothing is. The world has trained you to require proof before commitment. But the deepest work of a life refuses to give you proof in the order you want it. The proof comes in the form of who you have become, and that proof can only be seen looking backwards. So in the middle, you are being asked to do something the modern world considers impossible. You are being asked to commit before the proof arrives, to trust before the trust is earned, to keep going on a road whose end you cannot yet see. That is not a small thing. That is one of the most demanding things a soul can do, and you are doing it. Even if you do not feel like you are doing it well, even if you feel like you are barely holding on, the fact that you are still here means you are still doing it. That is enough. That counts. That is what I want you to understand tonight. The not being sure is not a sign you are stuck. It is a sign you are still in the middle. The middle is supposed to feel uncertain. If it felt certain, it would not be the middle anymore. It would be the after. And you are not in the after. You are in the part right before it. There is something else that gets lost when people quit in the middle. It is the part of themselves that was just about to come through. The part that has been forming quietly for months. The version of you that has been gathering on the other side of all this difficulty, that version does not arrive when things are easy. That version is being built right now in the part that feels the heaviest. If you stop here, the building stops. If you stay, the building continues. It really is that simple, and it really is that hard. I am not telling you this to put pressure on you. I am telling you this to take pressure off. Because if you have been wondering whether your tiredness in this season means you are doing it wrong, I want you to release that wondering. Your tiredness in this season means you are doing it. The exhaustion of the middle is not a malfunction. It is the cost of being honest about something the rest of the world refuses to be honest about. You are paying that cost. Most people will not. Most people stop right where you are, and they live the rest of their life pretending the wound is not still there. You are not doing that. You are still here. That is its own kind of courage. Let me say it a different way. The world rewards arrivals. It does not reward middles. You will not get a card in the mail for the months you spent quietly working on yourself. No one will throw you a party for the nights you cried alone and got up the next morning anyway. Your bravery in this season will go unwitnessed by almost everyone. That is the painful truth of it. But unwitnessed does not mean unreal. The work you are doing in the dark is just as real as the work that gets celebrated in the light. Maybe more real, Becky, as no one is watching and you are doing it anyway. What is waiting on the other side of staying? I want you to consider this, even if only for a moment. There is a version of your life that exists only if you do not quit here. A version where the heaviness lifts in a way you cannot picture yet. A version where the things you have been working on stop being something you have to work at. A version where you wake up one ordinary morning and notice, almost in passing, that the ache that used to sit on your chest is not there anymore. You will not be able to point to the moment it left. It will simply have gone while you were busy living. That version of your life is real. It is reachable. But it lives on the other side of this middle. The only way to it is through. So do not quit here. Not tonight. Not this week. Not in this season. There is a great deal of love rooting for you on the other side of this difficulty, and most of it belongs to a future version of yourself who is so deeply grateful you stayed. Stay for that version. Stay for the morning that has not arrived yet. Stay for the rising that is happening in you, even when no one, not even you, can see it. There is a particular loneliness to the middle that nobody mentions, and I want to name it out loud so you stop carrying it as if it were proof that something is wrong. The loneliness of the middle is the loneliness of work that cannot be photographed. There are no before and after pictures of the inside of a soul. There is no audience that can sit in a row and applaud the moment you forgive someone you thought you would hate forever. There is no certificate handed out the day you finally stop arguing with the past. The most important things you are doing right now will never be witnessed by anyone except you, and possibly the love that holds everything. That is hard. That is human. That is also the price of doing real work in a world that mostly cares about visible results. The unseenness is part of what makes it real. If everyone could see it, it would not require this much of you. The hiddenness is what makes the changing possible. I want to tell you something practical about what is happening in your nervous system during the long middle, because understanding it can take some of the shame away. When a body has been carrying old pain for a long time, the body learns to brace. Bracing becomes the default. Bracing keeps you upright when nothing else will. Bracing also costs an enormous amount of quiet energy every minute of every day, even when you are sitting still. When you begin to heal, you begin to ask the body to unbrace. Slowly, layer by layer. The body is not always ready. Sometimes it unbraces a little, and then it tightens again, because old protection is hard to give up. This back and forth is not failure. It is the body learning a new way to be in the world. It takes time. It takes a kind of patience the modern world does not understand. If you are tired in the middle, part of why you are tired is because your body is in the most delicate negotiation of your life, the negotiation between the way it kept you alive before and the way it is being asked to hold you now. Of course, that is exhausting. It would be exhausting to anyone. The fact that you are still walking through it is remarkable. I have something else I want you to hold with me. It is the part of this teaching that changes how the middle feels in the body. Stay close. I am going to tell you something now that may take a moment to settle. The hardest part of your healing is not a sign that something has gone wrong. The hardest part is the part where the deepest layer is finally being reached. Everything before this was the surface work. Everything before this was the part you could do while still half protecting yourself. What is happening now is different. What is happening now is the part that could not be reached until you got this far. That is why it hurts the way it does. The earlier pain was the pain of the wound. This pain is the pain of the wound being seen all the way down. Those are not the same pain. They feel similar from the outside. They feel similar even from the inside, but they are not the same. One is a wound that has been ignored for a long time, throbbing beneath the surface. The other is the wound finally being given air, finally being touched by light, finally being treated with the care it always deserved. Hear me. The pain is not what is wrong with you. The pain is what is leaving. There is a difference between pain that is destroying you and pain that is healing through you. And the difference is the direction of the movement. Destroying pain takes from you. Healing pain releases something from you. They feel similar in the chest. They are not similar in nature. The pain you are in right now, if you are doing this work honestly, is the pain of release. Something old is on its way out. The fact that it hurts on the way out is not a sign that the process has failed. It is a sign that the process is finally working all the way down. I know this is hard to take in. The mind wants to protest. The mind says, if this were healing, it should feel better by now. But healing was never promised to feel like better in every season. Healing was promised to take you somewhere truer than where you were. And the part of the road that takes you to truer places almost always passes through the hardest stretches. There is no shortcut around what is honest. There is only through what is honest. And through what is honest is a tunnel of seasons, and one of those seasons is the one you are in right now. Consider the way a deep clean works in a house that has been neglected for a long time. There comes a point in the cleaning where the house looks worse than it did when you started. Things have been pulled out of cupboards. Furniture has been moved. Layers of dust that were sitting peacefully are now in the air where they can be felt and seen. If you stopped at that exact moment and judged the work, you would say, "This was a mistake. The house is more chaotic now than before." But anyone who has done a deep clean knows that moment of greater chaos is the moment right before the deeper order. You cannot get to the deeper order without passing through the disturbed up middle. The dust has to be lifted to be removed. Your inner life has its own version of that moment. There are layers of dust in there that have been undisturbed for years. Decades in some cases. You decided somewhere along the way to stop pretending those layers were not there. You started lifting things. You started looking under what had been left alone. And now, naturally, the dust is in the air. Of course it is heavier in here right now. Of course the breathing feels harder. You did not break anything. You disturbed what was waiting to be disturbed. That is not a setback. That is the part that comes right before the rooms feel new. There is a holiness to this season that nobody warned you about. The holiness is not in how it looks. It is not in how it feels. It is in what it reaches. There are parts of you being touched right now that have never been touched before. Parts of you that have been waiting your whole life for someone to come and find them. All the way at the bottom. You are doing that. You are the one going down to find them. The reason this season is harder than the others is that you are reaching parts of yourself that no one has ever reached before, including you. That is sacred work. It is also exhausting work. Both are true. Many who walk this path describe the same strange feeling. They say, "I am doing more work than I have ever done, and I have less to show for it than ever." That is not a contradiction. That is a description of depth. The deeper you go, the less the work shows on the surface. Surface work shows on the surface. Deep work shows in the soul. You will not be able to see the soul changing in real time. You will only feel the cost of the change. The reward of the change is shy. It does not show itself until later. The cost of the change shows itself immediately. That is why the math feels wrong in the middle. You are paying the price of the deep work, but you have not yet received the gift of the deep work. The gift is coming. It is just slower than the price. There is a tenderness I want you to receive here. The very fact that this part is the hardest is evidence that you are no longer in the parts you used to be in. You are not where you were a year ago. You are not where you were 5 years ago. The work has carried you somewhere. You have not stayed still. The reason this layer feels harder than the others is because the others have already been done. You are not running into this hardness because you have failed at the easier work. You are running into this hardness because you have succeeded at the easier work, and now the deeper work is what is left. That is progress. It does not feel like progress, but it is progress. I want to give you a new way to read what you have been feeling. The exhaustion is not failure. It is the receipt of having gone far. The doubt is not weakness. It is the natural noise of being an unmapped country. The slowness is not laziness. It is the body and soul integrating something that cannot be rushed. The blankness on certain days is not regression. It is the rest period that the deep work requires, whether you schedule it or not. None of these are signs that you are doing it wrong. All of them are signs that you have gone deep enough that the surface tools no longer apply. There is a quiet teaching here. In the early stages of healing, effort is the answer. You learn to face the things you were avoiding. You learn to feel the things you were numbing. You learn to speak the things you were silencing. Effort works. You do the thing, you feel a shift. But somewhere in the middle, effort starts to lose its power. You push, and nothing pushes back. You try harder, and you only get more tired. That is not because you have lost your discipline. That is because the season has changed. The deep middle is not solved by more effort. The deep middle is solved by more presence, by staying, by breathing, by letting yourself be exactly where you are, without forcing yourself to be somewhere else. That is the new tool. That is the new way. And it is what we are going to walk into next. Let me say one more thing about this season, because there is a piece that nobody tells you, and it changes everything. The hardest part is not random, it is structural. Every truly deep healing has a hardest part, and the hardest part is always near the end. Not the middle of the journey, the way it might feel from the inside, but near the end. The reason it feels like the middle is because you cannot see how close to the edge of it you are. You are looking up at a long climb, and you cannot tell that the next bend in the trail is the one that opens out onto the meadow. From your angle, the climb still looks endless, but the trail does not know about your discouragement. The trail keeps doing what trails do. It keeps bending toward where it is going. Just because you cannot see the bend does not mean it is not coming. Most who finally get through this kind of season report that the breakthrough came on a day so ordinary they almost missed it. Not a thunderclap, not a dramatic revelation. A quiet morning where the heart, for some reason it could not name, was lighter. That is how this often arrives. Quietly, while you are doing dishes, while you are walking to your car, while you are sitting in a chair, just breathing. Do not miss it because you were expecting fireworks. The deep work tends to give its gifts in soft hands, not loud ones. There is also a kind of grace that becomes available only in the hardest part. Grace in the easy seasons is sweet but unremarkable. Grace in the hardest part of the road is something else entirely. It is the grace that finds you when you cannot find yourself. It is the grace that sits with you on the floor when you have nothing left to give. It is the grace that whispers, "You do not have to be okay tonight. You only have to stay and somehow that whisper is enough to keep you in the room. If you are in the hardest part right now, you are also in the part where this grace is the most accessible. It does not arrive when you have it all together. It arrives when you do not. That is the design of it. The hardest part is not the part where grace abandons you. It is the part where grace finally has room to come close, because all the other things you were leaning on have stopped working. You are leaning on something deeper now. That deeper thing is what carries people through the parts they cannot carry themselves through. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone in this, even on the nights you swore you were. I want to put a small distinction in your hands before we move on. There is a difference between being abandoned and being met by something quieter than you were used to. In the early seasons of any spiritual life, the love that holds everything tends to come close in dramatic ways. There are shifts you can feel. There are moments of being held that almost knock you over. Then, in the deeper seasons, the love does something else. It comes close in a way that is so quiet it can be mistaken for absence. The love is not gone. The love has only changed the volume. It is now coming through at a frequency the surface mind cannot pick up. The deeper part of you can still feel it, but the surface mind has to learn to read a quieter signal. That is part of what is being taught in the hardest part. You are being taught to recognize love at frequencies you did not have to know before. Once you learn the new frequency, you will realize it has been there the whole time. Quieter, steadier, closer than you knew. The hardest part is not the part where love left. It is the part where love became too close to be heard, and you had to learn how to feel it instead. You have done so much, more than the people in your life will ever fully understand. The next part of this conversation is for the part of you that wonders if you have it in you to keep going. You do. I will show you why. I want to talk to the part of you that has been whispering the hardest question of all. The question is this: what if I was never going to heal? What if all this work has been for nothing? What if this is just how I am now, and this is what the rest of my life is going to feel like? If you have asked that question, I want you to know it is one of the most common questions on this entire road. It is also one of the cruelest, because it does not arrive when you are doing badly. It arrives when you are tired. It waits for the moment your defenses are lowest, and then it slips in through the crack. It pretends to be wisdom. It pretends to be the truth you have been avoiding. It is not. It is exhaustion wearing a costume. And tonight we are going to take its costume off. The first obstacle of the long middle is the exhaustion that nothing in the visible world can explain. You sleep and you do not feel rested. You take a day off and the heaviness comes with you. You go on a trip and you bring it in your suitcase. People around you say, "Take care of you, ourself," and you want to laugh because you have been taking care of yourself and the heaviness has not lifted. This is not the kind of tired that ordinary rest will fix. This is the tired that comes from carrying something underground. It is a deeper tired. It is a more sacred tired. It does not respond to bubble baths. It does not respond to a weekend away. It only responds to time and to small acts of mercy with yourself, repeated for as long as it takes. The second obstacle is the disappearance of visible change. In the early days, you noticed the changes. You felt the shifts. You could mark the difference between this week and last week. But somewhere in the middle, the changes go inward. They stop announcing themselves. You wake up and you feel the same as yesterday. You wake up the next day and you feel the same as the day before. Weeks pass without a clear marker, and the part of you that was trained by the world to need progress, reports, begins to panic. Am I still moving? Am I going backwards? Did I lose the thread? You did not lose the thread. The thread went underground. Threads do that in the deep work. They have to. You will see them again, but not until they emerge on the other side of where they went. The third obstacle is the comparison. You see other people who seem to heal faster, lighter, cleaner than you do. You see people who appear to be over what you are still inside of. You wonder in the worst hours why you cannot just be like them. Sweet one, hear me. You do not know what those people are carrying. You do not know what their nights look like. You do not know what they hide. The cleanest healing you ever see from the outside is almost never as clean on the inside as it appears. And even if it were, it would not matter. Their road is theirs. Yours is yours. Your soul did not come here to do their work. Your soul came here to do its own. The fact that yours takes longer is not a verdict on your worth. It is a description of your specific terrain. Some terrain is hard. Some hearts are working through generations of unfinished pain that nobody else in the family was willing to touch. If that is yours, the timeline is going to be longer. Not because you are weaker, because what you are clearing is older. The fourth obstacle is the dread of more work ahead. You look at how far you have come. You look at how tired you already are. And you cannot imagine having the energy for what is still to come. The dread says, if it has been this hard already, how am I going to survive the rest? Listen to me. You do not have to imagine the rest. You only have to do the next breath. The dread is trying to make you carry tomorrow's tiredness on top of today's. That is a weight no one is meant to carry. The future has its own strength, and that strength will be there for you when you arrive. You do not need to import it backwards into now. You only need today. Today is enough. I want to give you an image to hold during this part. When a bone breaks, the body knows what to do. It begins, almost immediately, to send out the slow, faithful machinery of mending. New cells gather at the break. Tiny bridges of bone begin to grow across the gap. None of this is visible to the person whose bone is broken. They feel only the cast, the ache, the slowness, the inconvenience. They do not feel the knitting. They do not feel the bridges forming. The work is happening at a depth the eyes cannot reach. And then, weeks later, the cast comes off, and the bone is whole, often stronger at the place of the break than it was before. The break did not destroy the bone. The break became the place where the bone was rebuilt with more care. Your soul is doing that right now. The places where your life broke are knitting. You cannot feel the knitting. You can only feel the cast. The cast is heavy. The cast is awkward. The cast is in the way. But the knitting is happening underneath the cast, faithfully, every single hour you are alive. The fact that you cannot feel it does not mean it is not happening. The bone does not need your belief to mend. It is going to mend whether you believe in it or not. Healing in your soul works the same way. The mending does not require your faith. It only requires your stay. The fifth obstacle, and the quietest, is the slow numbing that pretends to be peace. After enough months of being in the middle, some hearts simply begin to shut down. The pain does not go away. It just gets quieter. The longing does not get fulfilled. It just gets dimmer. The dreams do not die. They just get whispered less and less until they stop being whispered at all. This is not healing. This is the heart giving up on its own desires because it is too tired to keep wanting. If you have begun to feel this, if you have noticed yourself wanting less, hoping less, dreaming less, please hear me. That is not a sign that you have grown more spiritual. That is a sign that something tender in you needs to be rescued before it goes silent forever. The desire to keep going is precious. Protect it. The longing to be whole is precious. Protect it. Do not let the long middle teach you to want less than what your soul came here for. There is a sixth obstacle that I almost did not name because it is the most invisible of all. It is the obstacle of beginning to identify with the difficulty itself. After enough time inside the long middle, the heart can begin to mistake the heaviness for the truth of who you are. You forget that you were ever lighter. You forget that there was a version of you who laughed easily, slept easily, hoped easily. You start to suspect that the heavy version is the real version and the lighter version was a trick. Hear me on this. The heavy version is not the real you. The heavy version is the you who is carrying something. The carrying is not the same as the carrier. When the carrying is finished, the carrier is still there, lighter than the carrying made it look. Do not confuse the two. You are not your heaviness. You are the one who has been holding the heaviness faithfully for longer than was fair. There is a self underneath the holding that has not gone anywhere. That self is waiting for the moment the holding can be set down. I want to say something gently to the part of you that has begun to wonder if maybe you should just settle. Settle for less than you longed for. Settle for the half-life. Settle for staying small. Many do. The world makes it easy to. There is a strong cultural pull to give up on the deeper longings of the soul and to call that giving up maturity. It is not maturity. It is exhaustion dressed up as wisdom. The soul that came here did not come to settle. It came to come home to itself. The middle of the road is not the place to abandon that. The middle of the road is the place where most people abandon it. But you are not most people. You have already proven that by being here, by listening this far, by still asking the questions that matter. The obstacle of the long middle is real. It is not in your imagination. It is not weakness. It is the shape of what you are doing, and the shape is heavy. But the shape is not endless. The shape has a far edge. You are walking toward that far edge. Every day you stay, you are walking toward it. Every day you breathe through the hardness instead of around it, you are closer than you were. The closeness is invisible to you. It will be visible later. For now, you have only my word, and the word of every soul who has ever made it through to the other side. They all say the same thing. The middle ends. The middle always ends. It just takes longer than the soul thinks it will. So when the question comes again, what if I was never going to heal? I want you to have something to answer it with. Try this. I do not know how it will heal. I only know that something in me is still reaching, still breathing, still willing to stay one more day. As long as that part of me is alive, the healing is alive too. That is true. That is enough. The reaching part of you is the proof that the healing is still in progress. As long as anything in you is still asking, anything in you is still answering. Stay close. There is a way of seeing this season that changes how it sits in the body, and I want you to have it. I am not going to tell you that the season changes. The season is what it is. The tiredness is real. The slowness is real. What I am going to tell you is something different. The season does not need to change for everything to change. What needs to change is the eyes you are reading the season with. New eyes do not lift the cloud. New eyes show you what the cloud is for. Imagine the back of a piece of weaving, loose threads, knotted ends, colors that seem to clash in messy lines. From the back, the work looks like chaos. There is no clear pattern. There is no obvious beauty. If you spent your whole life looking at the back of a tapestry, you would conclude that the weaver was either confused or careless or both. But the back is not the work. The back is the necessary underside of the work. Turn the tapestry over, and what looked like chaos is suddenly a pattern. The colors that seemed to clash were threads that the picture needed in those exact places. The knots that seemed to be mistakes were the strong holds that kept the picture from unraveling. Same fabric, same threads, new eyes. The whole story changes. You are looking at the back of yours right now. That is what the long middle is. It is the back of the weaving. You see the loose threads. You see the knots. You feel the mess of it. And from that angle, Of course, it looks like nothing is being made, but the front is being made. You will see it later when the work is far enough along to be turned over. For now, what is asked of you is not to lift up the tapestry and demand to see the front. What is asked of you is to trust that there is a front, and to keep the threads moving through your hands without trying to control where they go. Let me give you the new readings I promised, one at a time. Hold them like small stones in your palm. Take whichever ones fit your hand best. The first new reading. What looks like stuckness is excavation. When something stops moving in your life, the surface mind reads it as failure. The deeper part of you knows differently. The deeper part knows that some things have to stop moving so that the layers underneath them can finally be reached. You stopped because you were being asked to look. You stopped because the next step required something you did not yet have. Stuckness is not a failure of motion. It is an invitation to depth. The depth is not optional. The depth is the next destination. You are not behind. You are below. And below is exactly where you needed to go next. The second new reading. What looks like exhaustion is integration. The body and the soul cannot integrate at full speed. When something deep is shifting in you, the system slows down to make room for it. Energy that was being used for normal life is being borrowed for the integration. That is why you are tired. Not because you are weak, because you are processing. The integration cannot be hurried. It cannot be willed. It cannot be performed. It has its own pace, and its own pace is slower than you want it to be. But the slowness is not a sign you are doing it wrong. The slowness is the work. When the integration finishes, the energy will return. Until then, the tiredness is not a problem to solve. It is a sacred fee being paid for something becoming permanent. The third new reading. What looks like doubt is depth. You did not have these questions when the work was on the surface. You have them now because the work has gone deeper than your earlier answers can reach. Your old answers were enough for the old layer. They are not enough for this layer. So your soul is doing what it has always done when it outgrows an answer. It is asking new questions. The questions feel like doubt because they are uncomfortable. They are not doubt. They are growth. Doubt closes you. Growth opens you. Notice the difference. The questions you are asking now have an opening in them, even when they feel terrible. That opening eye is your soul making room for a bigger answer than it had before. Trust the asking. The asking is not a failure of faith. The asking is faith stretching itself into a larger size. The fourth new reading. What looks like loneliness is intimacy with yourself. There are things you are walking through right now that no other person can come into with you. Not because you are unlovable, because some interior rooms are designed to be entered alone. The loneliness of the deep middle is the soul sending the well-meaning crowd outside so that it can do something with you that requires no audience. What feels like nobody being there is actually you being more alone with yourself than you have ever been. That aloneness is not abandonment. It is a kind of intimacy almost no one in the modern world ever experiences. You are getting to know yourself at a depth most people will never know themselves. That is not a punishment. That is a gift wearing a heavy coat. The fifth new reading. What looks like the hardest part being endless is the hardest part being final. The reason it feels like it will never end is because nothing else is on the other side of it. There is nothing waiting after this. This is the last room, not the last room of your life. The last room of this particular layer of your healing. Once you walk through this, the next phase of your life does not have a hardest part of this kind in it. The new phase has its own seasons, but it does not have this season. This is the last time you will sit in this exact chair, at this exact depth of weariness, asking these exact questions. Finish what you came here to finish. You will not have to come back to this room again. The sixth new reading. What looks like failure to feel better is success at feeling truer. There is a strange wisdom in the deep middle. The further you go, the less invested you become in performing okayness. You stop pretending. You stop smoothing things over for other people. You stop making yourself smaller so the room feels easier. That is not a regression. That is a refinement. The version of you who is being formed in this season is going to be more honest than the version of you who walked into it. That honesty is going to cost you some relationships that were built on your dishonesty. That is not a tragedy. That is a clearing. The relationships that survive your truth are the only ones that were ever real to begin with. The seventh new reading is the one I want you to write on the inside of your forehead. What looks like the work not working is the work going to a place no one taught me to recognize. The reason you cannot tell that the work is working is because nobody trained you to read the signs of deep work. You were trained to read the signs of shallow work. Shallow work shows on the face. Deep work shows nowhere except inside. Of course, you cannot read it. Nobody showed you the alphabet. You will learn the alphabet eventually. You will look back and you will see that everything you thought was nothing happening was actually a great deal happening in a language you had not yet learned to read. There is one more reading, and this one is for the part of you that has begun to wonder whether the work was even worth starting in the first place. It is the reading that says, "What looks like a path I should not have walked was actually the only path that was ever going to lead somewhere true." You sometimes wonder if you should have left things buried, if you should have stayed numb. If the years before the work began were really the easier years, and starting all this was a mistake. They were not the easier years. They were the buried years. There is a difference. The buried years feel easier because the wound is asleep, and a sleeping wound takes up less space in the day. But a sleeping wound is still a wound. It is still shaping every choice. It is still narrowing the rooms of your life. The wound asleep was not peace. It was anesthesia. What you are experiencing now, even with all its weight, is what it feels like when the anesthesia wears off and the actual healing can begin. Anesthesia is not the absence of pain. It is the postponement of it. You are not in more pain now than you were before. You are simply in feel-able pain instead of stored pain. Feel-able pain is the kind that can leave. Stored pain is the kind that stays. You chose the kind that can leave. That was a brave choice, even if it does not feel brave from inside it. There is something else I want you to consider, gently. The version of you that started this work would not recognize the version of you that is here now. They look the same in the mirror. They sound the same on the phone. But they are not the same. The you who began did not yet know what you know. The you who began had not yet survived what you have survived. The you who began had not yet asked the questions you have asked, faced the things you have faced, sat with what you have sat with. All of that is now part of you. You have absorbed it. You did not just go through it. You took it in, and the taking in changed the shape of who you are. You will only realize how much later. For now, trust this, you are not the same as you were. The proof of that change is not yet visible to your eyes, but it is there. It is there. These new readings will not lift the heaviness in one night. That is not what they are for. They are for slowly, over the next weeks and months, beginning to read your own life differently. To look at what feels like failure and see scaffolding. To look at what feels like loneliness and see intimacy. To look at what feels like dust and see the deep clean. The same season, read with new eyes, becomes a season you can walk through without crumbling. The walking is still hard, but the meaning of the walking is no longer a question of whether you should be doing it. The meaning of the walking has been settled. You are doing it because something true is being made. That settles the question. Now you can give all of your remaining strength to the walking itself. Now I want to take you somewhere quiet. There is something I want you to feel, not just hear. Lower T. He lights, if you can, or let your eyes close. Stay with me in the soft, hushed place we are about to enter. I want you to do something simple with me now. Settle. Let your shoulders soften however much they will. Loosen your jaw. Let your hands rest, palms open or palms down, whichever feels more like home. If your eyes want to close, let them close. If they do not, let them rest on something soft. Take a slow breath in. Hold it for the smallest moment. Let it out, longer than the breath in. There. Once more. In, slow. Hold, out, longer. Let the body know that this is not a moment to brace for anything. This is a moment to be held. I want you to imagine, in whatever way your imagination wants to give it to you, a doorway. It does not have to be a real doorway. It does not have to belong to any place you know. Let your mind show you the doorway it chooses. Maybe it is wooden, with the soft worn wear of many hands having opened it. Maybe it is a simple opening in a wall of light. Maybe it is curtained. Maybe it is arched. Whatever shape it takes, let it take that shape. The shape does not matter. What matters is that you can sense it in front of you. Beyond the doorway, there is the softest light you have ever felt. Not bright, not blazing. Dawn light, the kind that comes just before the sun has fully risen, when the sky is the color of warm milk and the world is not yet awake. The light is quiet. It is gentle. It is full of a kind of love that does not ask anything of you. You are standing on this side of the doorway. You can feel the floor under your feet. You can feel the weight of your body, all the weight you've been carrying, all the days that brought you here. None of it is being asked to leave you yet. Bring it with you. Bring all of it, the tiredness, the doubt, the longings, the losses, the questions you do not have answers for. Bring every part of yourself you usually try to hide. There is room for all of it on this side of the threshold. In the doorway itself, between this side and that side, there is a stillness, a held space, the kind of stillness that gathers around important moments. Stand at the edge of it. Do not cross yet. Just stand. Let yourself be in the doorway. Let yourself feel the warmth of the light on the other side, even though you have not yet stepped through. The light is reaching toward you. It is allowed to reach. Take in the air on this side of the threshold. It might smell like a memory you cannot quite place. It might feel softer than the air you usually breathe. There is a slight temperature change at the doorway, like standing at the edge of an open window in a quiet house. The warmth of the other side is reaching out toward your face, toward your hands, toward the parts of you that have been cold for a long time. Let the warmth come. You do not have to step into it yet. You are allowed to receive it from this side. The warmth does not require you to be all the way through to begin its work in you. It will already be reaching the parts of you that have been waiting for it before your feet have even moved. Now, I want you to notice something. From the other side of the doorway, in that soft dawn light, a hand is reaching back toward you. Take a moment with this. Do not rush to identify whose hand it is. Just notice that the hand is there. It is open. The palm is up. The fingers are gentle, not gripping. The hand is waiting with all the patience in the world for you to be ready. Look at the hand. Really look. Notice its texture. Notice the lines on the palm. Notice that there is something familiar about it, even though you cannot quite place where you have seen it before. There is a reason it feels familiar. The hand belongs to the version of you who is being formed in this very season. The hand belongs to the truest you, the one waking up on the other side of all this difficulty, the one who already exists in the soft dawn of who you are becoming. The you on the other side has already lived through what you are walking through now. The you on the other side knows exactly what this season costs. The you on the other side remembers the nights you thought you could not bear. And the you on the other side is not angry with you for being tired. The you on the other side is reaching back through the doorway with infinite tenderness to take your hand and pull you gently across. Let yourself feel the offer of that hand. Let yourself want to take it. You do not have to take it yet. You only have to want to. If you are ready, slowly, slowly lift your own hand. Reach it toward the hand on the other side. Notice your fingers, the way they tremble a little, the way they have been holding so many things for so long. Let them stretch out. Let them move toward the hand that is waiting. Your fingertips touch first, just the lightest touch, across the threshold, from this side to that side. Two yous meeting in the doorway after a long, long walk. Then the hands close, softly. Not a grip, a gathering. The truest you on the other side has your hand now, and there is no rush. The truest you is not going to drag you across. The truest you is going to wait until you are ready, holding your hand the whole time. You can stay in the doorway as long as you need to. The hand is not going anywhere. I want you to listen now, because the truest you is going to whisper something. The whisper is so quiet, you have to be still to hear it. Lean in. You did not fail. You did not fall behind. You did exactly what was asked of you, in the only way you knew how, with the strength you had. I have seen every night you cried. I have seen every morning you got up anyway. I have seen the quiet acts of bravery no one else saw. I am here because of those acts. I exist because you stayed. Keep staying. Keep coming. I am waiting for you on this side, and I am not going anywhere. Let those words land wherever they need to land in you. You do not have to feel anything in particular about them. You only have to let them in. They are true. They were always true. The truest you has been waiting to say them for a long time. Now feel the hand still holding yours. Feel the warmth of it. Feel how it is not asking you to be different than you are. The hand is holding the tired version of you. The hand is holding the doubting version of you. The hand is holding the version of you who is not sure about any of this. The hand does not love only the healed parts. The hand loves the parts that are still on their way. I want you to stay in this stillness for a moment longer, because something is happening in you that does not happen often. Most of your days, you carry yourself forward through sheer force of will. Most of your days, the part of you that is doing the carrying never gets to rest. But right now, in this doorway, the carrying is being shared. The truest you on the other side has taken some of the weight. Notice how your shoulders feel a little lower than they did a few minutes ago. Notice how your chest is open in a way it usually is not. That is what shared weight feels like. You do not have to carry the whole thing by yourself anymore. There is a self on the other side of this difficulty whose only job is to help you across. You are not alone in your own life. You never were. You only thought you were because you could not see the other side yet. If anything wants to come up while you stand here, a tear, a sigh, a long exhale, a shake in the hands, let it come. The threshold can hold it. The threshold has been waiting for whatever you bring to it. There is nothing too much for this moment. There is nothing too small. Whatever wants to release, let it release. Whatever wants to stay quiet, let it stay quiet. The doorway does not require you to perform a feeling. The doorway only requires you to be here, and you are here. Stay in the doorway as long as you want to. There is no clock here. There is no deadline. The dawn light will keep being there. The hand will keep being there. The threshold belongs to you. This is not a place you visit once. This is a place you can return to any morning, any night, any moment when the heaviness gets to be too much. The threshold remembers your face. The hand remembers the weight of yours. You have a permanent address in this dawn light, and no one can take it from you. Before we leave the threshold, I want you to do one last thing. Look one more time at the hand holding yours. Notice that it is not pulling. Notice that it is not impatient. The truest you knows what you have been through, and the truest you is not going to rush the crossing. You will cross when you are ready, not before. The hand does not measure your worth by how fast you walk. The hand only stays. That is the whole job. The hand only stays. When you are ready, and only when you are ready, take a slow breath. Notice the room you are physically in again. Notice the chair, the bed, the floor. Notice the small sounds around you. Notice the air on your skin. Bring yourself slowly back, the way you would carry something fragile from one room to another. Do not rush, but take this with you. The threshold is real. You can come back to it anytime you need to. The hand is always there, reaching back, waiting. You do not have to wait until you are healed to be loved by the version of you that is waiting for you. The version of you that is waiting loves you exactly now, exactly here, exactly tired. Open your eyes if they were closed. Soften your shoulders again if they have lifted. Let the breath come and go on its own. We are going to come up gently from this place. There is more to give you, but for the next few breaths, just rest. You crossed something tonight, even if it did not look like anything from the outside. The threshold remembers. So does the part of you that walked up to it. When you are ready, stay with me. there is practical work to give you next, the kind of small, gentle work you can carry into your ordinary days. We will keep this softness with us as we go. I want to give you a few small, ordinary practices to take with you into your week. None of them are heroic. None of them require energy you do not have. They are designed for the version of you who is tired, who has been tired for a long time, and who needs tools that meet you where you actually are. Pick the ones that fit your hand. Leave the others. The goal is not to do all of them. The goal is to have one or two small, faithful companions for the days ahead. The first practice is the one more day practice. Here is how it works. When the heaviness gets loud, when the question of whether to keep going starts to sound serious, you do not commit to the rest of your life. You do not commit to the rest of the year. You do not commit to next month. You commit only to today, to this one day. You say very quietly, "I will stay one more day." That is all I am promising. You do not need to decide anything bigger than that. You do not need to figure out the whole road. You only need to give today the chance to finish. Then, when tomorrow comes, you do the same thing. Not as a renewed commitment to forever, just one more day. And the day after that, again, one more day. The miracle of this practice is small and almost embarrassing. Most of the people who eventually make it through the long middle never decided, in any single grand moment, that they would. They simply gave today one more day and then the next, until the days began to add up into something the heart could finally call survival. The whole road got walked one day at a time by a tired person who never promised more than that. You can be that person too. You already are that person. You are doing today, right now. If even one day feels like too much, you can shorten it further. I will stay one more hour. I will stay until lunch. I will stay until the sun goes down. The unit of time does not matter. What matters is the principle. You are not required to commit to the full distance to receive the support of having stayed for a small piece of it. Whatever piece you can stay for, that piece counts. Every piece counts. The reason this practice works is that the heart is not built to handle infinity. The heart is built to handle today. When you ask the heart to commit to a forever amount of suffering, it panics. It cannot calculate the load. The numbers are too big. But when you ask the heart to commit to one day, the heart can do that. One day is a manageable size. One day is a thing the heart was actually designed for. By shrinking the commitment to today, you are not avoiding the work. You are making the work doable. You are giving the heart a load it can actually carry, instead of crushing it under a load it was never meant to lift. This is not weakness. This is wisdom about how the heart actually works. The people who get all the way through hard seasons are almost always the ones who learned, somewhere along the way, to stop committing to the full distance and to start committing only to the next step. Be one of those people. Begin tonight by promising only this night. The second practice is witnessing without fixing. You have been trained by the world and probably by your own kindness to fix what you feel as soon as you feel it. When sadness comes, you reach for something to make it stop. When fear comes, you try to talk yourself out of it. When grief comes, you try to wrap it in something more acceptable. This is not your fault. The world taught you that hard feelings are problems. They are not problems. They are weather. They come, they move, they go. The harder you work to stop them, the longer they stay. The more you let them be there without arguing with them, the sooner they pass. Here is how the practice works. When a hard feeling arrives, instead of trying to manage it, you place a quiet hand on your chest or wherever the feeling is sitting, and you say very softly, inside or out loud, "I see you. You are allowed to be here. I am not going to fight you, and I am not going to chase you. I am just going to stay with you until you finish what you came to say." That is all. You do not have to like the feeling. You do not have to agree with it. You do not have to do anything with it. You only have to stop fighting it. The feeling came because something in you needed to be felt. Once it is felt, it leaves. Trying to shorten the feltness is what keeps it stuck. Witnessing without fixing is the most underused tool in the entire human toolkit because it goes against everything the modern world teaches. The modern world says, do something. The deeper wisdom says, be with this. The deeper wisdom is right. The doing something almost always makes things take longer. You may not believe me until you try it. Try it once, just once. The next time a hard feeling comes, do nothing. Sit with it. Let it move through. Notice that it does move through. Notice that the world did not end. Notice that you are still here, on the other side of the feeling, lighter than you were. That is the proof. The proof is in the staying. I want to give you a small physical anchor for this practice because the body learns faster than the mind does. When the hard feeling rises, place one hand on your chest, gently. Not to push the feeling down, not to fix anything, just so the body knows you are paying attention. The hand is the witness. The hand says, I am here. I am noticing. I am not running. The body, which has spent so many years bracing itself against every feeling that came, slowly begins to learn that this time is different. This time, the feeling is not being shoved away. This time, it is being met. The first few times, the body will not believe you. It will keep bracing. That is fine. Keep your hand there anyway. After enough repetitions, the body will start to soften when the feeling comes. It will start to know deep below the level of thought that the feeling is allowed. When the body knows this, the feelings move through faster because they are no longer fighting the way they used to. The third practice is the small kindness. This one is the simplest and the one most often skipped because it sounds too small to matter. It does matter. It matters more than almost anything else. Each day, you do one tiny, gentle thing for yourself. 1. Not a list of self-care tasks. Not a routine. Just one small act of care that you give to the part of you that has been overlooked. It can be the smallest thing you can imagine. A glass of cool water, slowly. A 2-minute pause to notice the sky. A hand on your own shoulder just for a breath. A favorite song played all the way through instead of skipped. A kind word said to yourself in the bathroom mirror, even if you do not believe it yet. The size does not matter. The faithfulness matters. One small kindness every single day, repeated for weeks, repeated for months, slowly retrains the deepest part of your nervous system. It tells your body, I am paying attention to you. I am not going to leave you out anymore. I am here. That message, repeated quietly enough times, begins to change how the body holds itself. It begins to change how the heart receives the day. It begins to change everything, but it begins so slowly you almost cannot see it. Trust the slow. The slow is what works. Here is the part most people miss. The kindness has to be received, not just performed. If you give yourself a glass of water and rush through it, the body does not register the kindness. If you give yourself a glass of water and pause for 10 seconds to actually feel the cool of it, the body registers a small message of being cared for. The pause is the thing. The pause is what tells the body that this kindness is for it. Without the pause, you are just doing tasks for yourself. With the pause, you are befriending yourself. There is a great difference between the two. I want you to know why this matters more than it sounds like it should. The body of a tired person, especially a person who has been tired for a long time, has been treated for years like a vehicle to be pushed through the day. It has been asked to perform, to function, to keep going with very little regard for whether it is okay. By the time the long middle arrives, the body has often given up on the idea that anyone in there is going to take care of it. The body has stopped expecting kindness. It has stopped itching for it. It has accepted neglect as the normal state of things. When you begin the small kindness practice, you are not just doing a sweet thing. You're sending the body a message it has not received in a very long time. You are saying, I see you. I know you have been carrying me for years. I am going to start showing up for you now in small ways every day. The body does not believe this at first. The body has been promised before, and the promise has been broken. But if you keep showing up day after day, with your one small act of care, the body slowly begins to trust again. And when the body begins to trust that you are not going to abandon it, something deep inside you begins to soften that has been hard for as long as you can remember. That softening is what you have been waiting for. That softening is what carries you through the rest of the road. 3 practices, 1 more day. Witnessing without fixing. A small daily kindness. That is all I am asking you to consider. Not all 3. 1 or 2, whichever fits your life. Let them be small. Let them be ordinary. Let them be yours. The smallest practices, done faithfully over time, are what carry people through the middle. The big, dramatic practices almost always burn out within a week. The small ones outlast everything. Choose small. Choose yours. Begin tomorrow. I want this part of our conversation to be just for the one of you who has been struggling the most. You may know who you are. You may be the one who almost did not turn this on tonight. The one who has been in the long middle for so long that you have started to wonder if there is even a long middle, or if this is just what your life is now. The one who has been getting through the days by the thinnest thread you have ever known. The one whose smile in front of others is now so practiced that even you cannot tell anymore where the smile ends and the face begins. If that is you, my love, please stay close to me for the next few minutes. Please do not skip this part. Please do not put this down before this section is finished. There is something I need to say to you specifically, and I do not know if I will have a chance to say it again. You are not too much. You are not too tired. You are not too far gone. There is no place you have walked that is past the reach of love. There is no level of exhaustion that means you have failed at being a person. There is no amount of doubt that means you do not deserve to keep going. Whatever you have been telling yourself in the worst moments, I want you to hear me say, here, now, in this hour, that none of it is true. None of it. The voice that has been telling you that you are too much, or not enough, or beyond help, that voice is not telling you the truth. That voice is the voice of every wound you have ever carried, talking to you in a tired moment when you could not defend yourself from it. That voice is wrong. It has always been wrong. It will always be wrong. I want to speak gently to the part of you that has begun to wonder if continuing is even worth it. If you are in that place, I want you to do something for me. Not now, not in this hour, but soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, when there is a small window of strength. Reach out. Reach out to a friend or a family member you trust, or a doctor or a counselor, or any kind person you can speak honestly to. You do not have to know what to say. You do not have to have it all figured out. You only have to let one other human being know that you are tired and you are struggling and you need someone to hold a piece of this with you for a little while. That is allowed. It has always been allowed. The world has taught you that asking for help is weakness. the world is wrong. Asking for help is one of the strongest things a soul can do, and it is also the thing that brings the most help into a life. Help cannot find you if no one knows you need it. Let one person know. Just one. I want you to consider the possibility that you are allowed to receive care. I know this might be hard to take in. Some who have been carrying their pain alone for a very long time have started to believe that care is for other people, not for them. That belief is a lie that grew during the years when no one was offering, and it took root because it explained a hard truth in a way the heart could survive. But that belief is no longer protecting you. That belief is keeping you from the very thing that could hold you. You are allowed to be one of the ones who is helped. You do not have to be the one who only helps others. You can be on the receiving end of love. The world has room for that. Your life has room for that. Let some come in. There is something else I want you to hear. The part of you that wants to keep going, even if it is the smallest part right now, even if it is only a thread, that part is the truest part of you. The part that wants to stop is not the truest part. The part that wants to stop is the tired part, the wounded part, the part that has been doing the heavy lifting for too long without help. That part is not your enemy. That part is the part that has carried you this far, but that part is not the part that gets to decide. The part that wants to keep going, the part that turned this on tonight, the part that is still listening, that part is the truest part. That part has been quietly choosing for you every day for a long time. That part is what has gotten you here. Trust it. It knows something the tired part cannot see. It knows that the road continues. It knows that you are not finished. I want to say something tender to the version of you who has been pretending. The version who tells everyone that you are fine. The version who answers, "I am good, how are you?" when someone asks, even though everything in you wants to fall onto the floor. I see you. I am not asking you to drop the pretending in front of everyone. I know there are reasons you have built it. I am only asking you to drop it in front of one person, just one, or just in front of yourself, or just here in this hour. It's me. You do not have to be fine right now. You do not have to be okay right now. You do not have to pretend with me. I have already seen the part you have been hiding, and I think it is the most beautiful part of you. The pretending is the costume. The tired underneath is the soul. I love the soul. I am here for the soul. The costume can take a break. There is a particular kind of loneliness that the pretending creates, and I want to name it before we go further, because if you have been living inside it, you may not even notice anymore that it is there. The pretending makes you alone in every room you walk into, even in rooms full of people who love you, even in conversations with people who want to be close. The pretending puts a small, invisible window between you and everyone else, and the window does not let any real warmth through in either direction. The people on the other side of the window can see you, but they cannot reach you. You can hear them, but you cannot be touched by them. After enough years of this, the loneliness becomes its own kind of climate. You stop noticing how cold the room is. You forget that warm rooms exist. The first time you let one person see the part you have been hiding, the window comes down, and the warmth you have not felt in years, sometimes in decades, comes through. That warmth is real. It has been waiting for you the whole time. The window was the only thing keeping it out. Take the window down. Just with one person, let the warmth in. Sweet one, please listen carefully. You are not a burden. You have never been a burden. The people who love you would rather know what you are carrying than be protected from knowing it. Your hiddenness is not a kindness to them. It is a wall that keeps them from being able to love you the way they want to. Let one person inside the wall. Watch what happens. The walls people build to protect their loved ones from their pain almost always end up making the pain worse, not better. The pain wants to be witnessed. The witnessing is what lets it move. As long as you keep the wall up, the pain has nowhere to go. Let it have somewhere to go. Let one person know. The relief is real. The relief comes the moment you are seen. I want to leave you with this, in case it is the only thing from this whole hour that you remember. The hardest part of your life is not the part that defines you. The hardest part is just a season. Seasons end. Seasons always end. Even the longest, hardest, most unfair seasons end. You will not always feel the way you feel right now. You will not always carry what you are carrying right now. There is a version of your life on the other side of this season that does not include this kind of weight. That version is real. It is reachable. It is waiting for you. Stay long enough to meet it. Please, stay long enough. I want you to remember something else too. The fact that you are listening to this in this hour, however you found your way here, is itself a quiet act of choosing. Nobody made you stay. No body is making you keep listening. The part of you that has kept this on, that has stayed for this long, that is still here for this paragraph, that part chose. That part is still choosing. Tonight, in this small way, you are choosing yourself. You are choosing to receive a kind voice. You are choosing to let in the possibility that things could be different. That choosing is not nothing. The world will not give you credit for it. Most people in your life will never know you did it. But the choosing is real, and the choosing counts. Every time you choose yourself, even in the smallest way, by listening to a kind voice, by drinking the glass of water, by getting up one more morning, you are quietly building a future where choosing yourself is what you do. The first choices are the hardest. The next ones are easier. By the time the road bends out into the meadow, you will not even remember when you stopped having to force the choosing. It will have become who you are. It is already starting to. You are doing it right now. If you are in the worst hour of your life right now, please reach for a phone. Please call someone, a friend, a family member, a counselor, a trusted neighbor, a helpline, anyone. You do not have to do this alone. You were never supposed to do this alone. The pretending that you have to is one of the most painful illusions of being a person. And tonight, in this hour, I am asking you to set that illusion down. Let someone help. Let one person know. The world has more love in it for you than you have been able to feel for a long time. And some of that love is reachable in the next 10 minutes if you let it be. Reach. Just reach. I love you. The reaching part of you, the staying part of you, the tired part of you, the hidden part of you, the part of you that turned this on, the part of you that is listening right now. I love every single one of those parts. So does the love that holds everything. So does the truest version of you waiting on the other side of the threshold. None of us are going anywhere. We are here. Stay with us. Keep going. I want to give you words now. Words you can carry into your ordinary days. Words you can whisper when the heaviness rises. Words you can lean on when nothing else seems to hold. You do not have to believe them yet. The believing comes later. For now, just say them. Say them out loud if you can. Say them in your head if that is easier. Let them sit in your mouth. Let them sit in your chest. Let your body get used to the shape of them, even before your mind has decided whether they are true. I want to tell you something about how words like these actually work, because most people are taught the wrong thing. You were probably told that an affirmation is something you should already believe, or at least be working toward believing. That is not how the body learns. The body does not learn from belief first. The body learns from repetition. You say a true thing enough times, with enough breath, and the body begins to recognize it before the mind has caught up. The recognition lives in the chest, no, the head. The mind can argue with an affirmation for years and lose anyway, because the body is quietly memorizing the truth of it underneath the argument. Trust this. Do not wait until you believe these words to start saying them. Say them now. The believing will catch up later. I will say each one slowly. After each one, take a breath. Let it land before the next one comes. I am allowed to be slow without being broken. I do not have to be done by now. I do not have to be done by next year. I am allowed to take the time my soul actually needs. The part of me that wants to quit is not the part that decides. The truest part of me decides. The truest part of me is choosing to stay. I release the version of me that needed this to be easy. The version of me that is being made does not need easy. It needs true. I am not behind. I am exactly where the deep work has brought me, and exactly where the next step begins. The pain I am feeling is not a sign that I am doing it wrong. It is the sign that something old is finally being allowed to leave. I do not have to earn the rest I am taking. The rest is part of the work. The rest is sacred. I am allowed to outgrow what no longer fits me, even if outgrowing it costs me things I thought I needed. What looks like nothing happening is the deep, quiet work that no one has ever taught me to recognize. It is happening anyway. Let me pause here for a breath, because that one matters. Take it in slowly. The world has trained you to need visible results. Your soul has been doing invisible ones the whole time. Both can be true. The invisible ones are not less real for being invisible. They are simply working in a register your eyes were not built to see. Trust the register your eyes cannot reach. That register has been keeping faith with you for a long time. I am held even when I cannot feel it. The love that holds me does not require my belief. It is here, regardless. The version of me that began this work is proud of the version of me who is still walking. Both of us are still here. I do not have to perform okay. I am allowed to be exactly as tired as I am, exactly as honest as I am, exactly as in progress as I am. I am closer to the other side than I think. The middle always feels endless from the inside. It is not endless. It is just long. The quiet acts of bravery I have done, the mornings I got up, the nights I stayed, the moments I did not numb, those count. Those have always counted. I am allowed to receive help. I am allowed to be carried for a while. I am allowed to let one other person hold a piece of this with me. I will stay one more day. That is enough. That is the whole promise. One more day, and then again, until the days become a road I can look back on. I am not the heaviness I am carrying. I am the one who has been carrying it. When the carrying is finished, the carrier will still be here, lighter than the carrying made me look. I am loved in the middle. I do not have to wait until I am healed to be loved. The love due is not arrive at the finish line. The love has been with me every step of the way. Take a long, slow breath now. Let those words settle into wherever in you they need to land. You do not have to pick favorites. You do not have to memorize them. The body remembers what the body needs to remember. The right ones will stay with you. The others will come back when you need them. I want you to notice before we close what has happened in your body just from saying these out loud or saying them inside. Maybe nothing has happened. Maybe a great deal has happened. There is no right response. But there is almost always something, a small loosening, a soft sigh, a quiet ache that is allowed to be felt now. That something is your body recognizing that it has been spoken to with kindness. The body remembers kindness. The body keeps a record. Each affirmation, each breath, each gentle word laid down on the day is being recorded somewhere underneath the visible work. Years from now, when you look back, you will not be able to point to which words mattered. They will all matter. The whole record will matter. The record is being kept by something deeper than memory, and that deeper thing is what will carry you forward when memory cannot. I want you to know how to use these in the days ahead, because I do not want them to be just sweet words for tonight. Pick one, just one, the one that hit hardest, or the one that softened something, or the one you almost did not believe. Make it yours for the next week. Whisper it when you wake up. Whisper it when you walk to the kitchen. Whisper it when the heaviness tries to climb back onto your chest. You do not need to memorize all 16. You only need one true line repeated faithfully for it to become a small companion in your day. The rest will come back to you when you need them. The body will remember which one to call up at which moment, even if your mind has forgotten. If you are someone who likes to write your chosen line down somewhere you will see it. The bathroom mirror, the dashboard of your car, the screen of your phone, the first page of a notebook. The body learns faster when the eyes get to see the words too. The seeing reinforces the saying reinforces the breathing reinforces the body's slow trust that things are different now. None of these are big actions. They are tiny, ordinary, almost invisible repetitions. But they are how the inner climate changes. They are how the tired soul slowly comes back to itself. There will be moments in the days ahead when these words will not feel like they are doing anything. You will whisper them and feel nothing. You will say them and the heaviness will not lift. I want to tell you in advance that this is normal, and I do not want it to discourage you. The words do not always work in real time. Sometimes they are working underneath a feeling that is too loud to be quiet yet. The loud feeling does not cancel the work. The loud feeling just covers it for a little while. Keep saying the words anyway. The words are accumulating somewhere underneath the noise. They will be there when the noise dies down. You will reach for them without remembering to, on a morning when something inside you needs a hand to hold, and the words will be ready. They will rise up out of you like they had always been there. That is the slow magic of saying true things faithfully in the dark hours when no one can see whether it is working. It is working. It is always working. You only stop being able to see the work after enough years have passed for the work to become you. One more time, gently, let me give you the line I most want you to take with you. The part of me that wants to quit is not the part that decides. Whisper it back to me. Let it become yours. It is one of the truest things I will tell you tonight. The tired part of you has a voice, and the voice is loud, but the voice is not the same as the decider. There is a deeper part of you that has been making the real choices all along. That deeper part has been choosing to stay every single day for a very long time. That is the part I am speaking to. That is the part that will carry you the rest of the way. Trust it. It has carried you everywhere you have already gone, and it has not failed you yet. There is one more thing I want to say before we move into our closing. Words like these, said in the right hour, can do a lot of work in the body. But words alone are not enough. The words have to be paired with the small daily acts we talked about earlier. The affirmation says, I do not have to earn my rest. The act says, and so I am going to lie down for 10 minutes without apologizing. The affirmation says, I am allowed to receive help. The act says, and so I am going to send the message to one trusted person tonight. The affirmation is what the heart is whispering. The act is what the body is doing about it. Without the act, the affirmation stays in the head. With the act, the affirmation becomes a life. Pair them. Let one true sentence become one true small thing done. Let one true small thing done become one true day lived. Let one true day lived become a road you can look back on with gratitude when you finally arrive. You have been given more in this hour than any of us can hold all at once. That is okay. You do not need to remember everything. The right pieces will stay with you. The pieces that are not for tonight will quietly come back when they are needed. Sometimes years from now, on a day you have forgotten this whole conversation. The body does not need to memorize. The body absorbs. What you absorb tonight will be there when you reach for it, even when you do not know that you are reaching. We are nearly at the end of our hour together. Before we go, I want to give you one image to carry with you when you leave this place. Imagine a long, dark street, a street at the deepest part of a winter night when the wind is cold and the houses are mostly asleep. Imagine yourself walking down that street, tired, far from home, not entirely sure what direction you're even meant to be going. And then, halfway down the street, you see it. A single window, lit, warm. Soft yellow light spilling out onto the dark pavement. A small, steady, ordinary light in the middle of the long, dark walk. You do not know whose window it is. You do not know what is on the other side of it. You only know that someone, somewhere in there, is awake. Someone has left the light on. Someone is up in this dark hour, holding a small piece of warmth out into the night, and that warmth is reaching all the way to where you stand. That window is for you. That window has always been for you. There has always been someone awake in the dark hours of your life, holding a small piece of warmth out into the night, hoping it would reach you. Sometimes the someone has been a person you knew. Sometimes the someone has been the love that holds everything. Sometimes the someone has been the truest version of yourself, lit up on the other side of all this difficulty, waiting for you to notice the glow. The hardest part of healing is the long, dark walk in the middle of the street. You are still on it. I am not going to pretend that you are home yet, but there is a window, and the window is lit, and the window is real, and the window is for you. Keep walking. You do not have to walk fast. You do not have to walk well. You only have to keep your eyes on the warm, small light and put one foot down and then the next. The street is long. The wind is cold. But the window is closer than it was an hour ago, and an hour from now, it will be closer still. That is the only promise I am making to you tonight. The window is closer than it was. You are nearer to the warmth than you have ever been. I love you. The reaching part of you, the staying part of you, the tired part of you, the truest you, the becoming you, the you who is not sure about any of this, all of you, every part, held. Take a slow breath. Let the air come in soft and go out softer. Let the shoulders fall the rest of the way down. Let the jaw be tender. Let the heart settle. Whatever happens tomorrow, you are not alone. The window stays lit. The hand stays reached. The love that holds everything is not going anywhere. You can walk one more step. You can stay one more day. You can keep going. Keep going.